Hi friends, this is your pal Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons and the emotion of empathy. Alright, so today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons and the emotion of empathy under the context of Dungeons & Dragons' brand new purpose. And what is that purpose? It is for the Dungeon Master to evoke strong emotion at the table, making someone at the table feel something real and taking that all the way to the point of producing psychological relief for strong emotions, right? Yeah, and you're like, whoa, what are you talking about there? So first of all, this was not my idea. This is how B. Dave Walters runs his game. He is one of the best dungeon masters. He's literally a podium dungeon master. He is one of the top 3 dungeon masters in the world. And he's not just like a random dungeon master who bought a dungeon, bought a dungeon master guide, a PHP, and bought a DMG, a PHP, and bought a DMG, bought a PHB, an MM, and a DMG, and went to town. He's like full on official. Like he is literally an official Dungeons and Dragons dungeon master. He's dungeon mastered for Hasbro many times, right? Like literally dozens of times, right? Actually, well over 100 times. Like he is literally one of the best dungeon masters in the world, and could not be more official. Right? It's hard to even imagine how it could be more official. He really has very strong official ties to Dungeons and Dragons. Now, he did not set this new purpose for anyone. He simply said, "This is how I run." And once I heard it, I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's the point. That's the purpose of Dungeons and Dragons, right?" And this is a shattering of the old purpose. The old purpose was, if everybody at the table is having fun, you're doing it right. And this just sweeps that aside and says, "Okay, you shove over with your silly little goblin shop game. We got things to do here, right?" And that's B. Dave Walters. He has changed Dungeons and Dragons forever with this new purpose, right? No more fun, but evoking emotion to the point of psychological relief. That's absolutely incredible. If you don't understand everything I just said there, just check out my playlist that talks about B. Dave Walters' path to that. Okay, all right. So let's jump into this. Okay, so let's talk about evoking empathy in Dungeons and Dragons. So once we second B. Dave Walters and say, yes, Dungeons and Dragons is not about fun. It is about evoking an emotion, right? And this is the brilliance of what B. Dave Walters has said. It's not a specific emotion. It's any emotion, right? And it can be different it can be different by session. It can be different by story arc. It can be different by campaign, right? It can be different by lifetime, right? But like you might spend an entire life only evoking empathy, at your Dungeons and Dragons table, or you might spend 1 week, 1 session doing it, or 1 story arc, or 1 campaign, right? But this is why I'm so fascinated with this concept is, I think what B. Dave Walters is really pointing to is that Dungeons and Dragons starts when you abandon fun, right? Fun is for ignorant hacks, right? Like it is not the point of Dungeons and Dragons. If you can evoke emotion, that is so much more powerful, so much more valuable, so much more useful. That's where it's at. That's the shiznit. Like that is the thing, right? So, but the ramifications of this are absolutely massive, right? Like, all right, so let's talk about empathy, right? Okay. Hi, I'm Scott Garibay. We're not going to talk about what you think we're going to talk about. Why would it be valuable to evoke empathy in a Dungeons and Dragons session, in a Dungeons and Dragons camp, in a Dungeons and Dragons story arc, in a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, right? Well, here you go. What if you're a psychopath and you are aware of it, right? So First of all, people are building different models, right? And a lot of people just kind of throw out the term psychopath, right? Like, oh, like, you don't really. And psychopaths are known for not being able to empathize, right? And a lot, and psychopath has gotten a bad a bad rap, right? Like there are psychopaths, and so you'll see on the internet all kinds of stuff like, oh, my boyfriend was a psychopath and it was bad. Oh, this person was a psychopath and they were ended up being a serial killer. Blah 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 blah. Right? But the reality is there are millions of psychopaths, right? Low millions of them, if not, there are millions of psychopaths. Even in America, I think there are millions of psychopaths, right? And the reality is, it's not. It's just the shape of a human, right? So, what if you're a psychopath and you're aware of the fact that you're a psychopath, right? And so, at this point, you realize it is impossible, if not outrageously difficult or extremely unlikely, that I will ever experience empathy, right? If you realize that, what can you do, right? Like you only have a few options, right? And most of them really suck, right? So the first option is the couch scribbler. I'll pay you $200. I'll ask you a question. You'll answer my question with a question, and I'll walk out with my questions answered with questions, right? It's not a great option, right? You could go to get a self-help book, but that's embarrassing. You got to go to Barnes and Noble, and then you're standing in the psychopath section. Who wants that, right? But Dungeons and Dragons, first of all, it's free. Doesn't cost $200 an hour. And then two, it's not embarrassing. It's super cool. It's become very useful, right? So if you're a psychopath and you know you're a psychopath, and so you don't really have any road to experience empathy, Dungeons and Dragons then becomes an incredible road if you can find a dungeon master like B. Dave Walters, right? And at that point, you could say, "Hey, I know you're running a Dungeons and Dragons game here, but I'm a psychopath. I don't have any road to experience empathy. But I heard that Dungeons and Dragons has abandoned fun and is now in the business of evoking emotion, making someone at the table feel something real, even to the point of psychological relief, right? As defined by a podium dungeon master, P. Dave Walters, right? He's set this as a possibility for tables and a new goal for the best tables, right? And so I would like to experience empathy through a player character. And my idea is that as a psychopath, even though I don't have any ability to experience empathy, if I experience empathy with a player character, or with 3 player characters, or with 30 player characters, I might get an understanding of empathy that is far better than anything I could have ever accomplished with a couch scribbler or with a self-help book, because I can understand it at a level that is truly unique and that did not exist before 1974. A new, modern, innovative way to explore this emotion of empathy. Even for a person like me, right, a psychopath who literally can't. But here, with this remove, it's possible. And I want to attempt it. I want to try, right? That's incredible. Like, that is outrageously incredible. That is an astonishing new possibility. A tactical, an infinite possibility. And that's what Gary built this for. He built all of this, right, to help us improve, grow, and transform as people. And so, one, if you're out there and you're a psychopath, one, I honor you as a human, right? Like, I know, psychopath has got a bad rap, but you don't need to be ashamed, right? There are a lot of people who are shaped that way, right? And if you want to feel empathy, I really believe that under the new model for Dungeons and Dragons, abandoning fun and embracing the evocation of emotion, that this is a real solution for you to really experience something that previously you couldn't, in my humble opinion. Every single word you just heard me say in this video is my humble opinion. Absolutely nothing more, absolutely nothing less. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider like, subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.